Yes, Prabhu. Let's read the translation. So this is Lalasa song number 8 by Narottam Das Thakur. When overwhelmed with bliss, will I directly serve the lotus feet of the divine couple? O Lord Hari, when will I attain this? When will I become a bumblebee staying continually at the lotus feet of the divine couple and continually drinking the honey of their lotus feet? This is my desire, to join the company of the gopi friends of the divine couple. O my master, by your mercy only can my desire be fulfilled. For many days I have desired in this way. Please be merciful to me and fulfill my request. Yearning and hoping in this way, Narottam Das weeps day and night. Please be merciful to me and make me your follower and gopi maidservant. So his spiritual master is also a gopi, and he wants to be his follower and the maidservant of other gopis and join in the company of the gopi friends, serve the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna, and he wants to be a bumblebee to taste the nectar at their lotus feet. I think Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has a similar prayer he made for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Kala nashtam bhakti yogam nijam ya pradushkartum Krishna Chaitanya nam avirbhutas tasya padarvinde gadam gadam liyatam chitta bringa. So he says that let my consciousness, which is like a honeybee, take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has just now appeared as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach the ancient system of devotional service to himself. This system had almost been lost due to the influence of time. So, like the honeybee is always seeking the honey at the lotus feet, let my mind my consciousness always be absorbed, thinking of your lotus feet. And that's what he's saying. You want to add something?
No, we also pray in our Tulsi.
Aini Vinandharu, Sakhi Anugata Karo. Seva Adhikara Diye Karo Nijitasi. Let me be the followers of the gopis.
Please make me a follower of the cowherd damsels of Raj. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your maidservant. So here also he says, I want to be in the company of the gopi friends. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I'll recite this one past about Radharani bitten by a snake, but it's long, so I'll split up in 2 days. So I'll read few pages today. Okay. So one day Jatila told her daughter Kotila, the attachment of our daughter-in-law Radha towards Krishna is increasing day by day. By this, our family will be shamed, and so I have made a plan so that Krishna and Radha cannot see each other anymore. I have decided to keep my daughter-in-law inside the house. I will not allow her to go to Pavan Sarovar and Yamuna for taking bath, and I will stop her going to the forest for Surya Puja. Kotila said, Mother, you may be able to stop all these outings, but what about when Radha goes to the house of Yashoda? When she is called by Vrajeshwari to cook for Krishna after Durvasa Muni blessed her, how will you stop her? Every day Yashoda sends Kundalata to take Radha to her house. What will you do at that time? Jatla replied, You go and tell Yashoda that our Radha will not be able to come to our house to cook for Krishna anymore. Tell her if she wants to feed Krishna food cooked by Radha, then it must be cooked in our house. The Nishta can come and take the foods to Yashoda's house. It is not good for our Radha to go to the home of others to cook. After hearing this announcement from her mother, Kotila said, If Rajeshwari Yashoda tells me, by the blessing of Durvasa Muni, my only son has been protected from the attack of so many demons simply because he eats the food cooked by Radha, Please do not disturb my son by stopping his food. Then what will I say? Jatila said, then you ask her if Durvasa Muni sees in his meditation that whomever my daughter-in-law touches will be long-lived, then will you take my daughter-in-law and let her touch your son's body? Tell her it is against the law for housewives to go to the home of another man to cook. We can no longer tolerate the way the bad name of my daughter-in-law is spreading everywhere. As you have affection for your son Krishna, we also have affection for our Radha. Don't you have the same affection towards her? After hearing all this, if Yashoda still insists that Radha cook for Krishna, then tell her that she can send Dhanishta. Radha can cook modak, but Dhanishta has to come to our house and take it every day. If Yashoda becomes angry with this, then we will leave their kingdom and go to another kingdom to protect Radha from the hands of Krishna. After this discussion, Kotala went to Nandagram and informed Yashoda of Jatila's decision. From that day on, Radha was not allowed to leave the house. Thus, Radha and Krishna were unable to meet. Being deprived of seeing Krishna, Radharani was suffering fevers in separation. Her Sakhis made her sleep on cool lotus leaves, but immediately the leaves would dry and turn to powder. The Sakhis would smear Sri Radhika's body with sandalwood pulp and camphor, but still, due to excessive heat, it dried quickly on her body. Sri Radha lay motionless on her bed in a senseless condition and would not respond when called. In Nanda Bhavan, Krishna took the food cooked by Rohini and went to the forest to graze his cows, but he was very unsatisfied. When Yashoda saw that Krishna was not eating to his full satisfaction because the food was not cooked by Radharani, she sent Dhanishta to Yava to bring some cakes cooked by Radharani. When Dhanishta arrived at Sri Radha's house, she saw her lying on the bed in a faint due to separation from Krishna. Dhanishta told Lalita, because Radhika has not come to Yashoda's house to cook for Krishna, Rohini Devi has cooked, but Sri Krishna is not fully satisfied. Thus Yashoda has sent me to take some sweets and cakes cooked by Radha, but Radha is lying here in a pitiful condition. How can she cook? Dhanishta went to Radharani and spoke gently in her ear. Oh Radhe, just see, Krishna is standing in front of you. When Radharani heard this, immediately she came back to her senses and opened her eyes. Then Dhanishta told her, Shri Radhe, today you did not go for cooking, so Shri Krishna ate food cooked by Rohini, but he did not eat satisfactorily. Vajeshwari has sent me to tell you to make some sweets and cakes for Krishna. I will take them to him. Krishna will eat that tonight and tomorrow morning, and then go to the forest for grazing cows. When Radha heard this from Dhanishta, she immediately prepared so many varieties of cakes and sweets with energy and enthusiasm. Sri Radha told Dhanishta, being separated from Krishna, being deprived of his darshan and service, I have been suffering so much. Dhanishta replied, O Radhe, as you have been suffering in separation from Krishna due to your inability to see him, so in the same way he has suffered deprived of your darshan and the food cooked by you. Radha packed all the delicious foods she had cooked for Krishna. As Dhanishta prepared to leave, she whispered quietly in Radhika's ear, Dear girl, pretend that you have been bitten by a snake and thus put fear in Jatila, Kotila and Abhimanyu. I will bring Krishna here, disguised as a female snake charmer. He will identify himself as the younger sister of Nandimukhi. When he comes here, then both of you shall meet. Dhanishta then departed for Nandagram, where she gave all the delicious preparations to Yashoda for Krishna's pleasure. That evening, Vishakha came running to Jatila, crying and falling at Jatila's feet in great anxiety. Jatila asked, My child, what has happened? Tell me. Vishakha said, Our Sakhi, your daughter-in-law Radha, has been bitten by a snake. Jatila asked, Where and how was she bitten by a snake? Vishakha said, Under the berry tree one snake was sitting with a jewel in his head. Radha could not see the snake due to darkness, but she saw the dazzling money on the hood of the snake and thought maybe her ornament had fallen on the ground. When she reached to pick up the jewel, the snake bit her. When Jatila heard this, she immediately ran to the bedroom of Radharani, crying, "Alas, alas!" She saw Sri Radha lying on the ground, shaking and moaning. Jatila told Kutila to call Abhimanyu immediately to fetch a doctor for Radha. Jatila asked Radha, "My dear child, how do you feel now?" Radha replied weakly, "My whole body is burning due to the heavy poison from the snake. I am not able to talk so much, but I beg you to not call any man to treat me. Please, I am a married woman and I cannot be touched by any man other than my husband. If any man touches me, I will die." Jatila said, "But my dear, at this dangerous time it is not proper to consider these rules. In Shastra it has been declared, for the purpose of medicine one should even drink wine. When this kind of instruction is there in scripture, why be so concerned that a man will touch you to cure you?" One lady, a neighbor of Jatila's who had come to see what all the fuss was about, said to Jatila and Radha, "Why are you all so worried? Just call Krishna, who has subdued the most poisonous snake, Kalia. He knows all kinds of mantras, tantras. If he comes, then your daughter-in-law will be cured immediately." When Sri Radha heard this, she pretended to be very angry and said, "I have been blamed and my character is in question because of this person. If I have if I have if I have to see him, it will cause me more pain than the snake bite. What to speak of if he touches me? If he enters this house, I shall die. Those who are proposing to bring him, I consider them as my life killing enemies." Jatila then told Lalita and the other Sakhis, "Please stay with Radha. I am going to Purnamashi Devi, who is all knowing. I will ask her how to solve this problem." So Jatila left to meet with Purnamashi. So we'll stop here and I'll continue tomorrow. Anything you would like to add, bro? She's making excuses. Yeah, so they are feeling so much separation from each other if they're not able to see each one for a day. Then, Radharani's body is feverish and she cannot do anything. So, same thing, the devotee should feel separation from service to Krishna if he is not able to do service to Krishna. Not have a devotee association. It's like, yeah, separation from devotees. Also, they say that the fish out of water. So there's a symbol at the lotus feet of Krishna, right? So the devotee should feel like fish out of water if they are not in the you know doing devotional service, not in the association of devotees. Like they should be suffering. And Krishna also is suffering, not being able to eat. So he's not able to eat properly. So Radharani is not cooked. सर्वत्र सर्वत्र होण्याची विशेष विस्मृती.
So the demigod's powers are derived from the forearms of the Lord. He should also duly contemplate the Lord's discuss, the Sudarshan Chakra, which contains 1000 spokes. Okay, I missed one. Then the yogi should concentrate on the polished ornaments, which were burnished by Mount Mandara as it is revolved. So all the gems and ornaments came. He should also duly contemplate the Lord's discus, the Sudarshan Chakra, which contains 1000 spokes and a dazzling luster, as well as the conch, which looks like a swan in his lotus like palm. So, Sudarshan Chakra and the conch, and the club and the lotus are the four things. So, should meditate on this. Here, it's speaking about the Sudarshan Chakra and the conch and all the other ornaments. All departments of law and order emanate from the arms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The law and order of the universe, directed by different demigods, as it is here, and it is here said to emanate from the Lord's arms. So, dharma comes from the Lord. Dharmantu sakshat bhagavad pranitam. Dharma means, the do's, don'ts, and so many other things, the inherent characteristic of the living entity. All these things comes from the Lord's arms. Law and order of the universe is directed by different demigods. And it is said here to emanate from the Lord's arms. Mandara Hill is mentioned here because when the ocean was churned by the demons on one side and the demigods on the other, Mandara Hill was taken as the churning rod. The Lord in his tortoise incarnation became the pivot, so Matsya Avatar became the pivot for the churning rod, and thus his ornaments were polished by the turning of Mandara Hill. So the Mandara Hill was moving, and that polished the ornaments. In other words, the ornaments on the arms of the Lord are as brilliant and lustrous as if they had been polished very recently. The wheel in the hand of the Lord, called the Sudarshan Chakra, has 1,000 spokes. The yogi is advised to meditate upon each of the spokes. He should meditate upon each and every one of the component parts of the transcendental form of the Lord. Okay, so Sudarshan Chakra has many spokes. Then, yeah.
Similar words in 10th canto. I don't know, but I read the purport. In that, the gopis were talking about Krishna, and in that, there also she was talking about that your chest is the only source of pleasure for the god. Okay, I don't know. It's in the 10. Okay, I'll post 10, 20, 39. But there they were talking about the two arms of Krishna, and says that your two mighty arms makes us fearless, just as they did when you held up Govardhan Hill and protect us from the pride of Mahendra. Those arms will certainly kill the beast Kamsa. So yeah, this verse is also talking about like this. The goddess of fortune. They're glorifying the Krishna's bodily, like arms and chest. His arms becomes a fearless because he killed the demons and protect the Brajvasis. So, but here it's talking about Paramatma, Vishnu Murti form, right? So
we'll read this verse that you gave. Sing your face encircled by curling locks of hair. That he also says Satyavrat Muni Damodarashtakam. Your lotus face which is encircled by locks of curling hair is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda. So seeing your face encircled by curling locks of hair. So Krishna has locks of hair which are coming on his face also. Your cheeks beautified by earrings. Krishna's cheeks are beautified by earrings. Your lips full of nectar. And your smiling glance, and also seeing your two imposing arms, which take away our fear. And your chest, which is the only source of pleasure for the goddess of fortune. We must become your maid servants. In the Gopi Gita also there is something like that. Virachita Vishnu.
That's this lotus feet.
Yeah, put your hand on our head. What is that? Shirashidehina.
Papakarshanam Pranacharanagam Sriniketanam.
The hand which grants fearlessness. Put that lotus hand on our heads.
विरचिताभयं वृष्णिदूर्यते चरणमीयुषां संश्रितेर्भयात् करसरोरुहं कान्तकामदं शिरसि देहिना श्रीकराग्रहम्. So, O best of the Vrishnis, your lotus-like hand, which holds the hand of the goddess of fortune, grants fearlessness to those who approach your feet out of fear of material existence. O lover, please place that wish fulfilling lotus hand on our heads. Yeah, so your hand grants fearlessness.
Two imposing arms which take away our fear. In your chest, which is the only source of pleasure for the goddess of fortune, we must become your maid servants. Okay. Okay. So let's read this conversation. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur envisions the gopis dealing with Krishna as follows. So gopis are telling Krishna this, whatever they said in this, we must become your maid servants. Krishna says, you want to become my servants? So do I have to buy you with some payment? Or are you giving yourselves freely? So we know there are asulka dashika. They are not seeking any payment. So Krishna is saying, you want to become my maid servants? Do I have to purchase you? Do I have to give you some salary? The gopis reply, since the beginning of our youthful womanhood, you have been purchasing us with a payment millions and millions of times more than enough. That payment is your gem-like smiling glance, which constitutes a great treasure we have never heard about or seen anywhere else. Yes, we have been taking payment from you, but that payment is in the form of your smile, which is gem-like. So you have been paying by smiling at us, or you have purchased us by your smile. So Krishna is saying, then do I have to purchase you, buy you with some payment? So yeah, he says, they are saying, yes, you have purchased us with your smile. When you put your golden turban on your head, your maid servant will act as your valet, pulling up the turban bit by bit until it is just in the right position. So how will the gopis serve? They will adjust the turban on Krishna's head until it is in the right position. And even while you shake a chastising finger at her, trying hard to prohibit her, she will put her hand beneath your turban and take the opportunity to glance at your face. And Krishna may become sometimes angry, and not allowing her, but she will try to see Krishna's face. Okay, thus we, your maid servants, will relish with our eyes your abundant sweetness. So they all just want to look at Krishna's face. That's also in the Gopi Gita, right? They don't want to. They curse Brahma. Krishna says, your husbands will not tolerate this behavior of ours. They will complain bitterly to King Kans, thus producing a fearful situation for me and for you as well. But by doing this, then your husbands may go and complain to Kans. The gopis say, but Krishna, your two mighty arms make us fearless, just as they did when you held up Govardhan Hill to protect us from the pride of Mahindra. Those arms will certainly kill that beast Kans. So your arms are very strong. You held up Govardhan Hill. So even if they go and complain to Kans and Kans comes to chastise us, you will kill Kans. But being a religious person, I cannot make others' wives my maid servants. Krishna is saying, but how can I make you my maid servants? I am a religious person. So then, oh dear crest jewel of religious personalities, you may say that you refuse to make cowherd wives your maid servants, but by force you have already taken Lakshmi, the wife of Narayan, from Vaikuntha, and are carrying her around on your chest. Out of shame, she has assumed the form of a golden lion on your chest. That's the Srivatsa. And she takes her only pleasure there. So you have already taken Lakshmi Devi and put on your chest. You're talking about religiosity. Besides, within all the 14 worlds and even above these worlds, in Vaikuntha Lok, beyond this universe, you never reject any beautiful woman, no matter who she is or whom she belongs to. We know this quite well. So you have never rejected anybody who has come to you. So we know this, any beautiful woman. For that matter, any person, it's not only comes to Krishna, even Kubja was accepted. So, and made beautiful by Krishna. Okay, so please accept us, basically. Yes, okay. And these are not in the verse Kansa and all these things, but Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he also being a liberated personality, he is saying what is going on in the mind of Krishna and the gopis, and so okay, so this is okay. The yogi should meditate upon his club, which is named Kaumudaki, and is very dear to him. So he has a gada also. Sudarshan Chakra and gada and the club and the disc and the club are for the non-devotees, and the conch and the lotus are for the devotees. This club smashes the demons who are always inimical soldiers and is smeared with their blood. So this club has blood on it because Vishnu has killed the demons. One should also concentrate on the nice garland on the neck of the Lord, which is always surrounded by bumblebees with their nice buzzing sound. And one should meditate upon the pearl necklace on the Lord's neck, which is considered to represent the pure living entities who are always engaged in his service. So one should meditate on the garland of the Lord, and on which there are always bumblebees coming close, and on the pearl necklace on the Lord's neck, which represents the living entities, pure living entities who are always engaged in his service. Okay, the yogi must contemplate the different parts of the transcendental body of the Lord. Here it is stated that the constitutional position of the living entities should be understood. There are two kinds of living entities mentioned here. One is called the Rati. They are Arati. Rati is like attraction. Arati means they are not attracted. They are averse to understanding the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Arati. For them, the Lord appears with his hand clutching the terrible mace, which is always smeared with blood stains from his killing of demons. So, for the demons who are averse to the Lord, the club is there. Demons are also the sons of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, all the different species of living entities are sons of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are, however, two classes of living entities who act in two different ways. The Supreme Lord keeps on his neck those living entities who are pure, as one protects the jewels and pearls on the bosom and neck of one's body. Those living entities in pure Krishna consciousness are symbolized by pearls on his neck. Those who are demons and are inimical towards the pastimes of the personality of Godhead are punished by his mace, which is always smeared with the blood of such fallen living entities. But they also get benefited because they are punished. The club of the Lord is very dear to him because he uses this instrument to smash the bodies of the demons and mix their blood. As mud is needed with water and earth. So mud, if you want to make into some shape, then you have to put water and earth. It is described. So water is required and mud. Like the mud is also earth. So the earthly bodies of the enemies of the Lord or the atheists are smashed by the club of the Lord, which becomes muddied with the blood of such demons. Okay, any comments on this? So, go to the next verse. So the bees are also always humming around Krishna, because Krishna is like lotus, and maybe he wears a garland, otherwise also they are humming and they cannot hide. And in humming, they are singing the glories of Krishna. And there is a verse like that: when the bees hum, then the cows and everybody, they stop doing what they are doing to hear what the bees have to say. They don't think, oh, these bees are insignificant, what are they doing? They want to hear the glories of the Lord spoken by other devotees. Bees are also devotees. Everybody is devotee in the spiritual world. So,
So Rupa Goswami in his Krishna Devam Bhavantam Vande says Manumanasa Madhukara Arpaya Nijapada Pankaja Makarande. May my be-like mind be always be hankering for the lotus feet, for your lotus feet, for the nectar of your lotus feet. It is described as the characteristics of a bumblebees because they got attracted towards the nectar of the. That's why they got lotus flower, and the flowers which has nectar. So they just take the nectar from that. So, and also I was thinking that the demons, which is generally they are not inclined towards the devotional process, towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But sometimes the role reversals also there, right? Vritrasura was a demon, but he was a devotee, a great devotee of the Lord. So, I mean, Lord is equal to everyone. It also says that demons are also sons of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But what matter is if you have a love for the Lord in the heart, so that makes you qualified, right? And that makes you a devotee. It doesn't matter you're in a demon body or demigod, because being a demigod, Indra also did so many offenses, right?
yes.
Yeah, in Kali Yuga, the divine and demoniac qualities are in the same person. So there's not separate demons or demigods. It's like we have both the qualities. So with the club, Krishna, Krishna takes avatar to destroy our anarthas. He will destroy our anarthas, demoniac qualities within us.
Yeah, we have demons, and sometimes it is said Balram also, right? Balram with this.
Yeah, that's right. Balram has a club and he has a plow. So to make the land fertile, you need the plow, and to crush the weeds, you need the club. So, weeds of anarthas.
And also, I think, can we say that Balram is also represent the Guru Tattva, right? And when Guru is shelter of a Guru, so Guru cut the, uh, with his sharp sword, he cut the, darkness of Maya and gives the lamp of knowledge. So, right through this, we can able to see clearly also. And when we have a knowledge through Guru Shastra and Sadhu, then we can inclination towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we can again reawaken our love in the heart.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Okay, we'll read the next verse. The yogi should then meditate on the lotus-like countenance of the Lord, who presents his different forms in the world out of compassion for the anxious devotees. His nose is prominent, and his crystal clear cheeks are illuminated by the oscillation of his glittering alligator shaped earrings. The Lord descends to the material world out of his deep compassion for his devotees. There are two reasons for the Lord's appearance or incarnation in the material world. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkritam. Whenever there is a discrepancy in discharge of religious principles and there is prominence of irreligion, dharmasya, dharma glanir, and abhyutthanam adharmasya, a rise of irreligion. The Lord descends for the protection of the devotees and the destruction of the non-devotees. When he appears, his main purpose is to give solace to his devotees. He does not have to come himself to destroy the demons, for he has many agents. Even the external energy Maya has sufficient strength to kill them. But when he comes to show compassion to his devotees, he kills the non-devotees as a matter of course. So, Lord Chaitanya being merciful, he kills the demoniac mentality by giving the holy name. Otherwise, everybody in Kali Yuga has to be killed, because everybody is more or less like a demon. So everybody has to be killed, but he kills the demoniac mentality by giving the holy name. So we know that. And he has appeared Kali Kali Namru, Krishna Avatar Nam Hoite Hoy Sarva Jagat Nistar. So the Lord appears in the particular form loved by a particular type of devotee. There are millions of forms of the Lord, but they are one. Absolute. As stated in Brahma Samhita, Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Anantarupam. All the different forms of the Lord are one. Although he is Advaita, means there is nobody like him, and is infallible, he is beginningless, but he has many, many forms. But some devotees want to see him in the form of Radha and Krishna. Others prefer him as Sita and Ramchandra, like Hanumanji. And others would see him as Lakshmi Narayan. And others want to see him as four-handed Narayan Vasudev. The Lord is in innumerable forms and he appears in a particular form as preferred by the particular type of devotee. A yogi is advised to meditate upon the forms that are approved by devotees. A yogi cannot imagine a form for meditation. Those so-called yogis who manufacture a circle or target are engaged in nonsense. Actually, a yogi must meditate upon the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that has been experienced by the Lord's pure devotees. So we don't imagine a form, Prabhupada is saying. Whatever the pure devotees have described, the Shastra has described, that's the form we meditate on. Yogi means devotee. Yogis who are not actually pure devotees should follow in the footsteps of devotees. So we have karmis, jnanis, yogis and bhaktas. So yogis can become devotees. Although Prabhupada here says yogi means devotee, yeah, that's ultimately highest yogi is one who always remembers Krishna. It is especially mentioned here that yogi should meditate upon the form which is thus approved. He cannot manufacture a form of the Lord. Okay, any comments? So he has alligator-shaped earrings. And his cheeks are illuminated by the glittering earrings. Okay. The yogi then meditates upon the beautiful face of the Lord, which is adorned with curly hair. So now from the neck, he has come to the face. And decorated by lotus-like eyes and dancing eyebrows. A lotus surrounded by swarming bees and a pair of swimming fish. Would be put to shame by its elegance. So Krishna's lotus face is so beautiful that it defeats any other beauty. Is that the second verse? Saroruham Kantakamadam.
Mhm. Correct. शरदुदासे
So,
शरदासे साधुजात स सरसिजोदरा श्रीमुषादृशा सुरतनाथ ते अशोकदासिका वरद निघ्नतो नेह किं दधा. Like your lotus face, beauty of your glance excels the world of the finest, most perfectly formed lotus within the autumn pond. I mean, Lord's beauty is much, much more beautiful than lotus, but within this material world, we can compare Lord's beauty to, lotus or moon. I think those are the two comparisons that are made.
okay. Yes, the Lord's face is more beautiful than the most finely formed lotus, something like that. So here also it is said, lotus surrounded by swarming bees would be put to shame by its elegance. Okay, so devotees never imagine a form of the Lord. Okay, one important statement here is Dhyayan, Dhyayan Manomayam. Manomayam is not an imagination. Impersonalists think that yogi can imagine any form he likes, but as stated here, the yogi must meditate upon the form of the Lord which is experienced by devotees. So many times people will say, well, how can you be assured that this kind of form is God's form? So again, Shastra. And in other Shastras, the form of the Lord is not described, like Quran and whatever other Bible. The form of the Lord is not described, how the Lord looks. So, but because this Bhagavad is advanced Shastra, so it describes more detail. Devotees never imagine a form of the Lord. They are not satisfied by something imaginary. The Lord has different eternal forms. Each devotee likes a particular form and thus engages himself in the service of the Lord by worshipping that form. Some are attracted to Nrsimhadev, some are attracted to Ramchandra. Like that. The Lord's form is depicted in different ways according to scriptures. As already discussed, there are 8 kinds of representations of the original form of the Lord. These representations can be produced by the use of clay, stone, wood, paint, sand, etc., depending upon the resources of the devotee. So Krishna's form can be represented through clay, through wood, through paint. Manomayam is the carving of the form of the Lord within the mind. This is so mana in the mind. This is included as one of the 8 different carvings of the form of the Lord. It is not imagination. Meditation on the actual form of the Lord may be manifested in different manners, but one should not conclude that one has to imagine a form. There are 2 comparisons in this verse. First, the Lord's face is compared to a lotus, and then his black hair is compared to humming bees swarming around the lotus. So his hair is compared to the bees, and his face is compared to the lotus. And his 2 eyes are compared to 2 fish swimming about. So there is lotus, there is bees, and there is fish. A lotus flower on the water is very beautiful when surrounded by humming bees and fish. The Lord's lotus face is self-sufficient and complete. His beauty defies the natural beauty of a lotus. Of course, everything comes, all the beauty emanates from the Lord, Mama Tejo. So the source of all beauty must be more beautiful than any beauty that comes in this world. So like that air hostess example, right?
Mama Tejo Sambhav.
Like Prabhupada said, yes, if this person is so beautiful, then how much more beautiful? We say nature is more very beautiful, then how much the creator of nature will be beautiful? Because all beauty emanates from him. like in Nar Narayan Rishi's pastime, right? Indra sent some heavenly apsaras to disturb Nar Narayan Rishi's meditation. And Nar Narayan Rishi from his body created so many beautiful apsaras. So so he's the source of all beauty. So he's not attracted by anything. Only Radharani is, of course, Radharani is also his own Radhini Shakti and manifesting. So it's not outside of himself. So, so that's how the yogi should contemplate with full devotion the compassionate glances frequently cast by the Lord's eyes. So when somebody is attracted by the Lord's beauty, and because his beauty surpasses everything in this material world, then they become fail to be attracted by anything. Because you get there is superior beauty, right? There is more beauty in the Lord than anything in this world. So being attracted by the beauty of the Lord, any other beauty in this world fails to attract because you have a superior engagement or superior, like that we say, Vishya Vinivartate, Param Drishtva Nivartate. So the yogi should contemplate with full devotion the compassionate glances frequently cast by the Lord's eyes. That's why he's Madan Mohan also, right? One who is enchanted by, one who attracts even Cupid. Cupid attracts everybody in this world, but one who is enchanted by Madan Mohan fails to be attracted by Cupid. That's how it's all described. Or one who takes away our attention. Madan Mohan is the Sambandha deity because he attracts us by taking our attention away from the alluring things of this material world. So, and then that's how Sambandh is established. By taking away our glance from everything we are attracted to in this material world, and he steals our chitta hari bamshi dhari. Chitta means consciousness and hari means steals. He steals our consciousness. So those whose consciousness have been stolen by Krishna. That's why that Gopi is telling, don't go and see at Keshi Ghat, this threefold form, Sham Sundar form, in the Lord standing in threefold bending form, because then you will lose all your attraction for anything else, for society, friendship, this world to enjoy. Speram Bhangi Traya Parichitam Sachi Vistirna Drishtim. That verse is there. Okay, so Lord's smile, everything is beautiful.
Is this from 10th canto, Prabhu? The verse you quoted.
It's from Nectar of Devotion, I think.
It's referenced in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yeah.
I'll paste the link.
Thank you, Mataji.
Like Rukmini said like that, right? I don't want to get anybody as a husband. I don't want anybody else. I just want Krishna. She was, even if I have to do penances life after life, I will not take anybody else. Not settle for anybody else. Yeah, Speram Bhangi Traya Parichatam Sachi Vistirna Drishtim. Tirna Drishtim means his sidelong glance. Vamshi Nashtadhara. Smeram is his smiling face. Bhangi means, Bhanga is to bend or break, but it's bent in three. Traya Parichitam. In three places is bent at waist, at what, how knees is bent, waist and the neck, right?
Mm.
So it's bent three places, standing in a crooked way. And yeah, once somebody was saying that if you get
In the bottle, right? It's very hard to get the crooked thing go into the bottle, but once it's gone, it's very hard to take out. So Krishna is hard to get into the heart, but once we put him in the heart, he'll not get out.
that's why it's difficult to forget Krishna consciousness. Once you are into it like mafia, you get in, you cannot get out. So Vamshi Nyashtadhara, Adhara is his lips. So he has put the Vamshi on his lips. Kishalayam, Kishalayam Ujwalam Chandrakena, and he's shining. Kishalayam is like the twigs, I think. His lips are compared to, yeah, his lips are like newly blossomed twigs. Govindakyam, he's called Govinda. Govindakyam Haritanum. Haritanum, he is the Hari. Ita Keshi Tirtho Upakanthe. That Keshi is Keshi Ghat. He stands on the bank of Yamuna at Keshi Ghat. We saw Keshi Ghat while in the boat, right? Did we go to Keshi Ghat also?
No, I think we saw it from far.
Far. It's on the bank of Yamuna at Keshi Ghat. And he's casting sidelong glances. He places his flute to his lips, which seemed like, yeah, Ma Prekshishta. Prekshishtas means, Ma means not. Don't cast a glance on this beautiful person standing there at Keshigarh. Ma means not, like Maya, not this. What we are seeing is not the reality with our conditioned vision. So Ma Prekshishtas Tava Yadi. If Yadi, if you have, Tava is you. If you have a desire, sang, Yadi Sakhe Bandhu Sange Stiranga. Sakha means friends. And so, but here is saying Sakhe, I think it's referring to my dear friend. Tava Yadi Sakhe Bandhu Sange. Bandhu Sange means with your friends. Stirangaha means if you want to enjoy in this world with all your family and friends, and then don't look at Krishna. Okay. The yogi should contemplate with full devotion the compassionate glances frequently cast by the Lord's eyes. So that means if we are attracted to all these things, means we are not attracted sufficiently to Krishna. Some attraction may be there, but we have other attraction also in this world. That's why it's not full attraction. The yogi should contemplate.
As Radheshyam Prabhu said, distraction means alternate attraction.
So there's many things. So it's not like, yeah, we have to become discouraged, but that means our heart is not fully pure, completely attracted to there is some partial attraction. So so the yogi should contemplate with full devotion the compassionate glances frequently cast by the Lord's eyes. For they soothe the most fearful threefold agonies of his devotees. So the compassionate glance of Krishna soothes one from all the miseries. His glances, accompanied by loving smiles, are full of abundant grace. Of course, this is for Vishnu, but same thing can be applied for Krishna. As long as one is in conditional life in the material body, it is natural that he will suffer from anxieties and agonies. Material body means anxiety. So, one cannot avoid the influence of material energy, even when one is on the transcendental plane. So the body will act, I mean, influence of material energy, even devotees will become old and they'll become diseased. So this is the influence of material energy. Even though their consciousness is on the spiritual plane, they will become old, they will become diseased. Sometimes disturbances come, but the agonies and anxieties of the devotees are at once mitigated when they think of the Supreme Personality of God, its beautiful form and smiling face. The Lord bestows innumerable favors upon his devotee, and the greatest manifestation of his grace is his smiling face, which is full of compassion for his pure devotees. This is a smiling face. Okay. Which is full of compassion for his pure devotees.
And that's the Canto 10, smiling face of the Lord.
Very enchanting pastimes of the Lord in the 10th canto. We'll read one more verse and then we will stop. A yogi should similarly meditate on the most benevolent smile of Lord Sri Hari. Hasam harer avantakhila loka tivra shokashrusagara vishoshanam atyudaram sammohanaya rachitam nijamaya yasya bhrumandalam munikrite makara dvajasya. So this is where the tears in this material world has formed an ocean of grief. So that was. Yogi should similarly meditate on the most benevolent smile of Lord Sri Hari, which for all those who bowed to him dries away the ocean of tears caused by intense grief. So we should meditate on Krishna's smiling face, and bowing down to him dries away the ocean of tears. The yogi should also meditate on the Lord's arched eyebrows, which are manifested by his internal potency, in order to charm the sex god for the good of the sages. The entire universe is full of miseries. So we should meditate on the Lord's smiling face, and bow down to him, and also bow down to him. And it drives away the ocean of tears. And then look at Lord's eyebrows. So, which are manifested by his internal potency in order to charm the sex god for the good of the sages. The entire universe is full of miseries, and therefore the inhabitants of this material universe are always shedding tears out of intense grief. Material nature makes you cry. There is a great ocean of water made from such tears. So how long we will keep crying in this material nature? We have to cry every time either disease happens to us, we have to cry. It gives us so much anxiety. Yesterday when Kapil was here at our home, he was saying that his mother had a mass in her pancreas, and that gave her so much anxiety. I mean, anxiety in the sense that, but she said, I don't want to do anything, because ultimately the mass turned out to be benign or not cancerous, but they're saying we are keeping a watch. And so little mass somewhere can give so much anxiety that all your plans for enjoyment goes down the drain. All your plans for material enjoyment is finished. A little thing happens and that gives so much anxiety. So this is the nature of this material world. So as long as nothing like that has happened, we think nothing is going to happen to me and I will enjoy forever. That's the whole thing. But everybody ultimately has to get some or other disease. So So there is a great ocean of water made from such tears. But for one who surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of God, the ocean of tears is at once dried up. So if we want to be free from this, then we should surrender to Krishna. Then we will feel the Lord's protection. And feeling the Lord's protection, then we will feel happy. The child feels happy when he feels the protection from his parents, feels secure. So by surrendering to the Lord, we will feel his protection, and then we will not be in anxiety. And surrender means, right, there are 6 limbs of surrender. Like that. One need only see the charming smile of the Supreme Lord. And surrender means Krishna, when you surrender, you are helpless. Then only you can surrender. As long as you can think that I can do it on my own and all, you can't surrender. So, and Maya won't let go until you surrender. So that's how it is. Until we surrender, Maya will give. And we may think I'm very Krishna conscious, but actually we are under the clutches of Maya. But that's how Maya makes a fool also out of us. So devotee has to be very he has to surrender. So Krishna will give the instruction in the heart as the Chaitya Guru. He will tell what is Maya and what is not Maya, and what is Krishna conscious. Otherwise, in the form of Maya, we'll think it is Krishna consciousness. So that discrimination Krishna gives in the heart to a devotee, because Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam is the Chaitya Guru in the heart. So there is a great ocean of water made from such tears. But for one who surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ocean of tears is at once dried up. One need only see the charming smile of the Supreme Lord. In other words, the bereavement of material existence immediately subsides when one sees the charming smile of the Lord. And surrender means to be fully engaged in Krishna's service. It's not like Prabhupada said like that Arjuna, you sleep on the chariot and I will do everything. Krishna didn't say like that. No, surrender doesn't mean that we don't do anything for Krishna's service. It means we do everything for Krishna's service, depending on Krishna for his pleasure. We do. It is not inactivity also, it is full activity, but for Krishna's pleasure. It is stated in this verse that the charming eyebrows of the Lord are so fascinating. Like at the end of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna surrenders to Krishna and he picks up his Gandiv. So it is stated in this verse that the charming eyebrows of the Lord are so fascinating that they cause one to forget the charms of sense attraction. So when one is attracted by the Lord, the conditioned souls are shackled to material existence because they are captivated by the charms of sense gratification, especially sex life. So sex desire is the root cause of our entanglement and the root cause of our transmigration in this material existence. So everybody is shackled to this material existence, and the material existence is called Maithuna Agar. Agar means the prison. The sex god is called Makaradhwaj. The charming brows of the Supreme Personality of Godhead protect the sages and devotees from being charmed by material lust and sex attraction. Yamunacharya, a great Acharya, said that ever since he had seen the charming pastimes of the Lord, the charms of sex life had become abominable for him, and the mere thought of sex enjoyment would cause him to spit and turn his face because he got superior enjoyment. Thus, if anyone wants to be aloof from sex attraction, he must see the charming smile and fascinating eyebrows of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. So, any comments?
Mm, devotees also cry for Krishna.
Mm.
So instead of crying for material things, we should cry for Krishna.
Yes, we should cry in helplessness, as Prabhupada says, baby crying for mother,
Feeling of separation.
and feeling of separation. When you have love for Krishna, then you feel separation from the object of your love. So, yeah, Krishna, I have left you in this material, in the spiritual world. I have come to this material world. So many lifetimes I have been separated from you.
And I think you can dovetail in the sense that, there are suffering. So instead of crying for the suffering, you should dovetail that, yeah, I have come to this material world out of my own desire to enjoy, but there is no enjoyment. Krishna, please accept me back.
Please
So
accept.
same tears will then become, tears of separation for Krishna.
Nice. Yeah,
And
distress is actually,
also, mm,
yeah, material distress is meant to move us close to Krishna. So basically, yeah. Okay, sorry.
no, I was just saying that, in this world, in the material world, if one thinks about own self, most of the people are like, why did it happen to me? That's why I'm crying. Someone is desiring something else. Why the people crying, right? But in that crying, one feel grief also, intense grief. But when we cry for the Lord, although tears is coming, but that really makes you joyful inside, right? And I think like that when someone break the boundaries, because in the conditioned soul break, have the boundary that they think like that, this is my desires, this is my wanting, this is my family, I can go beyond this. When one thinks like that, this is my happiness doesn't matter, my desire doesn't matter. When we think of what kind of happiness we derive by serving Lord, what kind of happiness we derive by serving the Lord's devotees, by serving others. And when one not think about their own self, about others, I think that is a kind of then Lord think about that. And we see that all the devotees, all the great acharyas never want their own happiness. We have in the morning, we have Sugandha Mataji is reading the Prarthana series, right? And in all the series, which I have noticed that they are just they have just desire to serve the devotees. They're only hankering for the how can I serve you, how can I, when I will get a chance to serve the devotees and Lord's devotees and devotees. So that quality attracts the Lord, because they are not thinking about that, oh, when I will go and I can enjoy, I can do. Of course they will get it, the enjoyment, but their mindset is always how can I serve you. So they are not just thinking about own self. When we are not thinking about own self, then there will be no chance of shedding tears for inner grief for own.
Yeah, Prabhupada says hot and cold tears. So the hot tears are when we are suffering in material existence, those tears that come out, but the ones that come out of love for Krishna and devotees, and cold tears.
Hmm. Nice. Yeah, it's like somebody who you love is enjoying or is getting pleasure, then you feel pleasure automatically. It's like that. Let's say you like somebody and then that person is having a nice situation, they're eating nicely, then you feel very happy. You are not eating, but they are eating and they are like mother, like child, right? So when the child is happy playing with the toys and laughing, the mother feels very happy. So it's like that kind of thing. So when Radha and Krishna are satisfied with the service and they are happy, of course they're always happy, but yeah, then the devotee feels so happy that, oh, I could make Radha and Krishna happy. It's like the mother serves the child and the child is happy. smiling, something like that. I'm maybe thinking. Yeah.
But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always crying. I mean, he was dancing also. I guess it's a mix of joy and distress.
Hmm.
Sometimes he laughs loudly, sometimes he cries, right? So that there's Ashtasatvika bhav.
Yeah, they say crying in the material world is not the same as crying in spiritual world, because that gives, crying in material world is distressful, but crying in spiritual world is happiness. So yeah, it's because the remembrance of Krishna, you feel more the presence of Krishna in Vipralamba Bhav. So than in Sambhog, right?
Correct. So this verse is the essence of Bhagavatam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Evam vrita swapriya nama kirtaya. So this one, a person engaged in the devotional service of the Lord in full Krishna consciousness automatically becomes carried away by ecstasy when he chants and hears the holy name of Krishna. His heart becomes slackened while chanting the holy name. He becomes almost like a madman and he doesn't care for any outward social conventions. Sometimes he laughs, sometimes he weeps, sometimes he cries out very loudly, sometimes he sings, and sometimes he dances and forgets himself. These are the signs of becoming intoxicated in devotional service. This stage is called Atmaram stage. It is possible when the Lord bestows His mercy upon a devotee for his advanced devotional activity. It is the highest perfectional stage because one cannot reach it unless one has attained pure love of God.
So you are saying sometimes he weeps, sometimes he laughs, right? So, but both are devotional ecstasies. Thank you.
Is it not like when the because Krishna has many pastimes, right? And some are like funny pastimes, and as you have read, before a few verses back, and in that Bhagavatam verse, when gopis were saying that you are not going to leave any beautiful girl who come to you, right? And you are talking about that you are so religious. So I mean, these are like funny pastimes when and our like acharyas has so much absorption, and like they are pure devotees, they get chance to enter into the Krishna, Radha and Krishna's pastime also. So it depends. I mean, I'm thinking like that, like depends, like
Yeah,
what
yeah.
kind of pastime is going on according to their the mood is of the devotees is, right? Sometimes they weep. Mhm. Even some, like some devotees, when the, like separation of Radha Krishna pastime come, like when Krishna is leaving Vrindavan, as per not eternally of course but externally. So it's like the devotees do not bear that pain, right? They don't want to separate Radha and Krishna even a moment. So
Correct. Yes. So
yeah.
Sanatan Goswami had written this. Vidigdha Madhav or Rupa Goswami had written this about Krishna leaving Vrindavan to go to Mathura, and Raghunath Das was reading that and he was crying and crying. So and he would like almost be was ready to leave his body. So Rupa Goswami then wrote Dan Keli Komedi, which is the tax collection pastimes of funny pastimes, and Raghunath gave him to Raghunath Das, and he was laughing and laughing. So yeah, based on the pastimes, the devotee gets absorbed in that pastime.
Yeah. Then he decided to change, right? He didn't say.
Yeah. He wanted to commit suicide actually, hearing the Krishna leaving. But then, yeah.
Okay. It's 8:28. We will stop here. Later on, we can read Krishna book and some lectures we can see. Also. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.